Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako si Pia Hontiveros. 4 na araw na lang at magbababa na ng hatol ang sambayanang Pilipino ukol sa napipisil nilang susunod na lider ng bansa. Sa pamamagitan ng forum na inorganisa ng Commission on Elections at kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, mabibigyan tayo ng huling pasilip bago ang halalan sa pangunahing agenda ng mga tumatakbo para sa pagkapangulo at pangalawang pangulo ng bansa. Sa araw na ito, makakapanayam natin dito sa studio ang Vice Presidential Candidate at ekonomistang si Manny Lopez ng Labour Party Philippines. Kasama ko ngayon sa panel ang CNN Philippines Senior Anchor at Correspondent Pinky Webb at News Anchor ng Radio Mindanao Network DZXL 558 na si Ricky Rosales. Mr. Lopez, welcome to the show and thank you very much po for coming here. Para po sa inyong opening statement, sakaling mahalal kayo bilang pangalawang pangulo ng bansa, paano po makakatulong sa pag-aano ng Pilipinas sa mga krisis na kinakarap nito ngayon? Meron po kayong 5 minutes, 5 minuto para sagutin ang tanong.
Good morning, Ms. Hontiveros. Good morning, Ms. Webb and Ricky. Isang magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Manny SD Lopez, kandidato ng Workers and Peasants Party, also known as the Labour Party Philippines. Kami po sa Labour Party ay naglunsad ng 10-point socio-economic development and political reform agenda upang bigyan tugon ang iba't ibang mga challenges and issues na hinaharap at haharapin pa ng sambayanang Pilipino sa mga darating na taon. Tayo po ay humaharap ngayon sa isang pandemya na wala pang kasiguraduhan kung kailan po ito matatapos. Ngayon po, ang pinakamalaking suliranin ng ating sambayanan ay ang economic recovery. Matagal na pong naghihirap ang mga Pilipino at mas marami pang naghihirap. Kaya't kami po ay maglulungsad ng isang comprehensive economic recovery program na bibigyan ng solusyon ang kahirapan, ang kakulangan at ang mga iba't ibang suliranin ng sambayanang Pilipino. Maraming salamat po.
Alright, follow-up question, Mr. Lopez. Pinag-usapan niyo nga po yung sinasabi niyong economic recovery. Let's talk about MSMEs, ang sinasabi pong driving force for economic recovery. Ang MSMEs po dito sa ating bansa comprise over 90% or over 90% of the businesses here in the country. Ano ho ang nakikita ninyong programa para po matulungan at maprotektahan ang mga MSMEs dito po sa bansa?
Definitely, ang MSMEs po represent the most important component of our national economy. At tama po kayo, they represent more than 90% of the business enterprises. And they also represent a big percentage of our fiscal revenues, as well as they contribute a lot to our national employment. And so, kailangan po talaga ang focus natin ay palakasin natin ang MSMEs at ang ating farming sector and among others. Ngayon po, being an economist, ako po ay nag-conceptualize ng isang comprehensive 3-point strategy upang bigyan tugon ang mga hinaharap na challenges ng mga micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. And this is composed of, number 1, a new omnibus investment code to improve the way we do business in this country, to improve the productivity of our business enterprises, of our industries, and of our workers, through collaborative measures. And with that, I think we will be able to improve the comparative advantage or competitive advantage of the business scenario. With that, makaka-attract po tayo ng mas maraming investors, tayo po ay makaka-create ng mas maraming trabaho and opportunities across the regions. And second po, kailangan po natin ng isang simplified and I would say a bankruptcy law that could be easily be used as a legal framework of struggling firms na hindi kayang magbayad ng mga experts sa bankruptcy law. Ang isa pong simplified bankruptcy law will be made available to struggling firms and individuals so they will be able to reorganize and continue on with their business with certain leeway, no? Para sila ay makabalik at makatayo muli at maka-recover from the impact of the pandemic. Dahil marami naman po dito sa mga MSMEs na ito ay na-bankrupt or malapit na ma-bankrupt because of the protocol that we have to observe. Marami po dyan ay kailangan isara for higher reasons, no? Including public health and safety. So pag meron po tayong legal framework na simple and that could easily be used to file for say a reprieve, then we will have to amend the FRIA law or the Insolvency Act that is more geared for bigger business enterprises. And lastly po, ako po ay nag-advocate ng loan programs designed for struggling firms and individuals. At ito po will be a loan program that will allow struggling firms and business enterprises and individuals para maka-access sa ating mga loan programs. Dahil available naman po ang pera, dahil ito ay provided for ng Bayanihan Act 1 and 2. However, the billions are just lying out there because, hindi ma-access because of the stringent requirements of the commercial banks. No? So kung struggling firm ka, nalulugi ka, parang napakahirap po or it's almost impossible actually to access loans. Now, but with a government guarantee, maari pong mas malawak ang mga business firms at mga individual na nahihirapan ngayon na maka-access ng loans. And we can course this through the commercial banking system with a government guarantee para walang palakasan. No? At of course, kailangan ang interest mababa with easy terms. So these three components put together will be able to help MSMEs in general. And when these MSMEs, our farming sector, as well as our professionals and individuals are able to recover, then the broader national economy will be able to recover.
We'll have more questions for you, Mr. Lopez. Sa pagbabalik po ng COMELEC, KBP PiliPinas Forum, tatalakayin naman natin ang usapin sa kahirapan. Kayo ay nanonood ng COMELEC KBP Forum 2022. Kasama rin natin si Vice Presidential Candidate Manny Lopez at sa ating panel, CNN Philippine Senior Anchor Pinky Webb at Radio Mindanao Network TCXL 558 News Anchor Ricky Rosales. Pinky.
Okay, sa unang 6 na buwan noong 2001, pumalo po sa 23.7% yung ating poverty rate sa bansa, Mr. Lopez. Marami po yung nasadlak sa kahirapan dahil nga na rin sa lockdowns bunsod ng pandemya. Ang tanong po, ano ba ang dapat gawin para maabot yung tinatawag na zero extreme poverty rate target ng bansa sa taong 2040?
Ako po ay nagmumungkahi ng bagong economics. We should shift from Keynesian macroeconomic principles that allows for the trickle-down effect sa ating mga kababayan in terms of benefits, no? Ano man ang public policy. Kailangan po embrace natin ngayon ang tinatawag nating welfare economics. Isa pong economic concept na bibigyan ng prioridad ang mga pangangailangan ng Pilipino. At yan po ay very basic. The basic needs ng ating mga kababayan, which is food, healthcare, education, among others. At among the sectors na kailangan pong i-prioritize dyan ay ang agrikultura sapagkat karamihan po ng ating mga mamamayan ay reliant sa agriculture. Kaya yan po ay bigyan natin ng mas magandang mga solusyon, hindi lang budgetary allocation, hindi lang po, puro bigay na libre. Kung hindi, i-address natin scientifically yung mga suliranin, yung mga challenges ng ating agricultural sector. And among those that needs to be addressed immediately ay ang sourcing nila ng capital. At yung pong mga production inputs, mataas na binhi, mataas na presyo ng fertilizer, kakulangan sa infrastruktura, yan po ang bigyan natin ng prioridad. Using the build funds na nakaprioritize o naka-allocate sa mga flagship projects. In that way, yung pong benepisyo ay direktamenteng mapupunta sa mga kababayan natin na matagal nang naghihirap ngayong panahon ng pandemya.
I think ginoong...
I thought you were going to bring... Wait.
Ito. Sige, pakita na natin. Okay, sorry. So may binigay ho kasi sa amin si Mr. Lopez. Kayo na po ang paliwanag nito. Ito po ay 100,000, no? Dito nakasulat 100,000. What is this? What does this symbolize, sir?
Malaki po ang ibig sabihin niyan, dalawang aspeto po. Number one, ang kahirapan po na dinadanas ng ating maraming kababayan ay immediately mabibigyan ng solusyon kung sila ay magkakaroon ng access sa low-interest loans with easy terms. Ngayon po, meron naman inallocate ang ating mga mambabatas sa Bayanihan 1 and 2 for economic recovery. Yan pong salaping yan ay pwedeng gamitin as a guarantee system upang yung pong lending rates ng mga bangko ay bumaba. Sapagkat alam niyo po, Miss Pinky and Miss Pia, hindi ba pag kayo ay bumili ng kahit na anong bagay at hindi kayo na-approve sa financing, kung meron po kayong guarantor, ay ina-approvehan kayo. In the same manner, ganyan po ang konsepto na gusto nating gamitin, upang magkaroon ng access, makautang ang mga Pilipino na naghihirap ngayon. Sapagkat kung ito pong salapi na binibigyan nating halaga ngayon dito sa ating pamphlet na ito, sa ating leaflet na ito, na every Filipino, bawat Pilipino ay pwedeng umutang hanggang 100,000, direktamente po magagamit nila ang salaping yan upang sa kanilang bigyan ng solusyon, ang kanilang mga iba't ibang pangangailangan.
And that will revive the economy.
And that will revive the economy.
Yeah. But do we have money for that? Let's say you do become VP and let's say we are able to do this program. Hindi maubusan ng pera ang gobyerno.
A guarantee system po ito, Meron po tayong sufficient billions that is lying around in DBP and the Land Bank na pwedeng gamitin as a guarantee fund to lower the lending standards para mas maraming makautang, including yung mga struggling MSMEs, yung mga struggling na mga individuals and professionals na nahirapan sapagkat nagkaroon tayo ng maraming lockdowns, maraming nalugi. So with this microloan program na gusto ko pong ipatupad, ito po ay direktamenteng makakatulong sa ating mamamayan.
Kanina nga, yung unang sulyap natin, kala natin may bagong bill, Pero very quickly, sir, yes or no lang po, itong welfare economics na sinasabi po ninyo, hindi po kasama doon, hindi po kayo pabor doon sa conditional cash transfer.
Yung pong,
Very briefly, sir, one sentence.
Hindi po ako masyadong kumbinsido doon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not a good idea, you're saying. Ricky?
Ginoong Manny, gusto rin namin pong malaman ang plano ninyo para sa mga OFWs. Siyempre, kamakailan po ay tila nagkakagulo itong ilang ahensya ng gobyerno natin pagdating sa Department of Migrant Workers. So ano pong plano ninyo if you win, Vice President Ginoong Lopez? How will you attract yung mga OFWs na dito pumunta sa atin to work at paano pararamihin ang trabaho dito for them?
Yung pong 10-point socio-economic development and political reform agenda na aming inulungsad, yan po ay magbibigay ng kumpletong solusyon sa mga suliranin na ating na-identify during our engagement with the different academies, with the different interest groups, and yung iba't iba pong mga NGOs. Nandyan po sa aking website at www.mannysdlopez.com. Nandyan po ang detalye. Yan po ay, it consists of people empowerment, It consists of quality education, at ang isang pinaka-gist po nito ay isang comprehensive economic recovery program with a corresponding integrated agro-industrial resource management development
And you're
program.
saying, sir, that is what will bring Filipinos home?
Back home.
Para hindi na
Yes.
ayaw na nilang, wala na may gustong magtrabaho sa abroad.
Opo. Marami pong siguro mananatili rito kung meron trabahong mabuti dito. Ngayon po, kung wala naman trabaho, talagang sila ay magsisikap upang mabigyan ng income ang kanilang mga pamilya. So that will be something.
If implemented, Ginong Lopez, how soon ito ay may ilatag ng maganda? At
This
ayos?
will be a generational, time frame, sapagkat alam niyo po, ang ating mga suliranin naman ay systemic and cultural. Hindi po yan na mabibigyan ng solusyon in one administration. At lalong-lalong hindi po mabibigyan ng solusyon yan kung ang mga iluluklok nyo ay yung mga traditional politicians na pareho pa rin ang kanilang gagawin, kapareho pa rin ang mga policy programs na hindi talaga, bibigyan ng solusyon yung mga systemic ills na ating hinaharap. At siya rin na mga rason why this country is where it is. No? Kaya po, kung malaki pong pagkakataon itong nabigay nyo sa amin, na magbigay ng ibang panukala na talagang magbibigay tugon sa mga suliranin ng ating bansa.
Ito po ang COMELEC KBP PiliPinas Forum 2022. Pag-usapan natin ang takbo ng edukasyon sa bansa at ang tugon sa pandemya na tumama sa buong mundo. Sa pagbabalik po. Kayo'y nanonood ng COMELEC KBP Forum 2022. Kasama rin natin Vice Presidential Candidate Manny Lopez, ang aking co-panelists, Ricky Rosales and Webb. Ricky.
Ginong Lopez, nangako po ang Department of Education noong January na magpapalabas sila ng mas pinabuting bersyon itong ating K-12 sa basic education curriculum. And siyempre, yan ho ay matapos ipanawagan noon ng Alliance of Concerned Teachers na dapat tugunan yung mga butas dito sa programang ito. 10 years after ho yan, 2012-2013, ang yan ay ipatupad. Sa inyo ho bang assessment, Ginong Lopez, matagumpay ito? At kung may mga dapat baguhin, ano po ang mga dapat ireforma sa K-12?
Well, ang Labor Party Philippines po, and based on my 10-point socio-economic development and political reform agenda, quality education towards cultural excellence is one of our focus. No? So, yan po, gaya ng nasabi ko kanina, it's not only a matter of budget allocation, but it's a matter of coming out with the right innovations, no? With the right approaches, methodologies, upang ma-improve natin ang ating quality of education. Ngayon po, ang K-12 program, palagay ko, okay naman yan eh. Kasi binase yan sa international standards. Ang problema ho siguro dun sa implementation. In every good plan, there has to be a corresponding good, efficient, and effective implementation. Sa palagay ko po, doon nagkukulang ang ating K-12 program. Pag na-improve po siguro yan, and with the corresponding improvements in the implementation and the leadership of DepEd, then I think magiging mahusay po ang resulta. But at this point in time, para masagot ko yung sa inyo, siguro ho, marami nagko-complain eh. So there must be something wrong.
May isa lang ako follow-up, Ginoong Lopez, yung binabagit yung cultural excellence. Can you a bit expound on this at magbigay ng kahit isa o dalawang halimbawa how to do this? Kasi it seems like ang laki nung paano natin gagawin yung cultural excellence.
Bakit ko po nasabi, sagutin ko po kayo, bakit ko po nasabi na kailangan natin ng cultural excellence? Yung pong mga bata rito, parang hindi na sila nananaginip or nag-aspire na maging globally competitive, na maging pinakamagaling sa buong mundo. Nung pong kapanahunan namin, nananaginip pa po kami at nag-aspire pa po kami na maging pinakamagaling sa Asia or if not in the world. No? Ganyan po dapat ang thinking ng ating kabataan. Nawawala na po yan. Ang parang nagiging subservient na tayo in our own thought in our own actions. So we have to change that. And we can do that through quality education.
Well, speaking of education, Ms. Lopez, itong problema natin sa internet connection, no? Lalo na't ngayon, we have face-to-face classes and then, well, perhaps by next school year, August, baka mag-hybrid, no? Face-to-face and, I'm sorry, online ngayon. Tapos mag-hybrid sa next school year, no? Online plus face-to-face. What do we need to do? What is it in your 10-point agenda that you can do to improve internet connection?
Malaki pong usapan yan eh. Ang rollout po ng improvement ng ating online facilities, it will take years, no? Pero there are certain approaches, strategies, if you are, IT literate, no? Na mabibigyan ng better quality education through, I would say, digital, technologies. Mura na lang po ngayon ng ang USB eh. So kung bawat estudyante ay may complete curriculum in one USB, then that will suffice. That will help them. At yung testing program, pwede po yung pag-test na examinations, pwede pong gawin online yan. Marami pong approaches eh. Kaya lang parang medyo deficient tayo when it comes to IT expertise. Doon nga po sa DICT, balita ko, yung naging pinuno doon hindi masyadong IT literate. So how could you
Who are you
expect
referring to,
improvements?
sir? Secretary Grego Nasan?
Sino bang mga naging...
Grego Nasan?
Senator.
ang alam ko po,
Yung naging pinuno, sabi nyo kasi.
siguro po, baka siya ngayon. Pero ang alam ko
Siya
po,
ngayon o naging
Eli Rio,
pinuno?
mahusay naman yun, ano? Pero inadmit po ka sa akin ni Secretary Eli Rio nung tinanong ko siya because when this pandemic started, even before it was made publicly, tumakbo na po ako dyan kay Secretary Eli Rio, sa mga aking kaibigan sa DILG, sa aking mga kaibigan sa UP medical and scientific community. I was warning, I was shouting out loud in my FB account, na this pandemic is for real and we have to do something about it, to mitigate its impact on our society. So pinuntahan ko po yan at narinig ko po kasi yung mga hearings sa Congress and I was alarmed. Sabi ko, we have to do something because nung pinakikinggan ko po yung congressional hearing, yung mga resource speakers, they did not know what to do, in this crisis. But this is not unique to us. Even European countries and even the U.S. had that same problem. But, when the IATF tapped on the UP medical and scientific community, you can take notice, nagkaroon na improvements. Kasi nung mga generals lang, puro general problem ang kanyang mga solusyon, Puro mga lockdown, puro mga So, and pandemic, you have to look at this thing in a holistic manner, In a very intelligent, efficient, and effective manner. And we can do this through private-public collaboration and tapping on the best minds in the country. If you tap the less than best minds, then you get less than effective solutions.
So let's talk about the pandemic. Vaccination, sir, 67.9 million so far have been vaccinated. Let's put it at 68 million. Pero yung boosters, 13 million pa lang po ang nagpa-booster shots. Sa harap po ng banta ng subvariants ng Omicron, yung BA.2.12, na nakitaan na po sa isang turista doon po sa norte, sa Baguio. Ano ho pa, what do you think government should do? What else should government do to encourage people to get boosted?
I'm a veteran disaster planning and management advocate for the longest time, and microbiological hazard is just one of the many potential disasters that we will be facing now and in the future. Now, with regards to
this will
pandemic
not be the last
management,
pandemic.
with regards to this pandemic, we have proposed a science-based, cost-effective, and pragmatic approach, in managing the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the variants that will be coming out. And I think my best strategy is get people informed how the viruses would actually affect us. We have to understand the viral life cycle. Kasi kung alam mo yung kalaban mo, alam mong gagawin mo from an individual to a community level approach. No? So that's the first thing that we have to do. Education, information. Secondly, our policymakers should be experts in their own right. 2.5 years na ngayon, kailangan alam na nila kung anong virus, yung mga checkpoint na titignan ng pulis, ano pong i-stopin ka, titignan nila kung may virus doon o wala. That's something that is a waste of time. But when it comes to the protocol, I think we have to be more effective and efficient. We could not totally go for public health and safety and sacrificing the economy. There has to be a balance.
Yeah.
There has
So
to be
you're
a
saying,
balance.
sir, that we just need to live with the virus, no, and figure things out along the way, which is what we're doing right now. But at the same time, sir, I also want to ask very quickly, no, dahil pinag-uusapan education and information, which for which we need the internet for better connectivity and even free Wi-Fi access. Very quickly, sir, what can you do about this? Is this something that you would like to work on?
Yes, I think we have to deal with the industry leaders. No, we have to effect some changes in the national policy as far as rolling out our IT programs more efficiently. It will take maybe 2 weeks of your program for us to discuss every detail.
2
But
weeks, every
I'm
day.
willing to do that.
Every day.
Sa ano tayo, Ginoong Lopez, sa healthcare system, anong plano ninyo sa mga healthcare workers, pagpapalakas ng hospitals para mapalakas yung healthcare system?
Meron po tayong short-term, medium-term, and long-term approach. I'll start with the long-term. We need more doctors, and we need to keep them here. No, healthcare workers. And how can we do that? We should provide scholarships. Mahal kasi magpa-doktor. Ako nga, anak ko, gusto niya magdoktora. Pero sa US kasi, I can't afford it. Sabi ko, umuwi dito. So if we are able to provide scholarships to have more doctors, nurses, and other medical practitioners, that would be the long-term solution. When it comes to hospitals, to the infrastructure, alam niyo po, yung pagpapagawa ng hospital, isang component lang yan. You need to equip it, you need to have systems and procedures in place, you need the expertise. No?
You need the
So
staff.
all of these things, we have to, plan it well. And you need the management expert po to do that. At nagbo-volunteer po ako to help the Filipino people realize this dream.
Sa aming pagbabalik, pag-usapan po natin ang mga reforma sa politika. Ito ang COMELEC KBP PiliPinas Forum 2022. Ito po ang COMELEC KBP PiliPinas Forum 2022. Nakasala ngayon sa ating panel interview si Vice Presidential Candidate Manny Lopez. Kasama ko pa rin sina Webb and Ricky Rosales. Sa huling bahagi ng ating forum, sasagutin ng ating kandidato ang mga usaping politikal at sistema ng pamamahala sa bansa. Mr. Lopez, let's talk about taxes. No? How can you help para mapalakas yung collection ng buwis? What can we do about, tax avoidance, yung mga ayaw magbayad or mag-file?
Opo, on the matter of fiscal management po, talagang kailangan unahin natin ma-improve ang ating tax collection. And there's a two-pronged approach dyan po. One is to embrace, digitalization or computerization of our systems of collection. And secondly, yung pong talagang habitual na nag-avoid ng taxes, kailangan po ma-penalize yan. So these two approach, mabibigyan pong tugon yan with simple policy measures and effective implementation. On the other side of the coin, kailangan po na every tax spent, collected and spent, should be spent wisely. Sapagkat, alam niyo po, mahirap ang situation ngayon, with this economic slowdown. Correspondingly, ang tax base po natin, ang tax na marirealize ng gobyerno ay mas mababa at mas malaki naman ang ating mga gastusin, kaya kailangan po hindi na po pwede yung dating gawa, ng ating mga pamahalaan. Kailangan po every peso collected in the form of taxes should be spent wisely. And kung madadagdagan ko lang po, yun pong mga politicians na nagpapangako ng bilyon-bilyon, hindi po maari yun. Yan po ay sinasabi nila para perhaps para sila ay inyong iboto. Ang magiging realidad po ay kailangan tayo ng mag-belt tightening, austerity program. Yun po ang magiging realistic na approach natin.
Sir, very quickly lang po, no? So, di ba, we have, many are employed and therefore withheld na yung taxes, no, sa kanilang income. And then there are some people who say, no, but then why do we need to file the ITR? And then if we don't file the ITR, is that something that needs to be fixed or tama yon? What is the correct system ba talaga?
In a regular performing economy, kailangan po talaga yon, no? Yung procedure na yon. But in an economic slowdown na halos wala ka ng talagang income, then perhaps there should be some leeway. Pero ang importante ho dito, tax compliance. Yun po ang kailangan nating unahin. Tax compliance para mas maging responsibilidad din, mas responsible ang ating mga mamamayan.
Okay,
whether it's a pandemic or not.
Nananawagan po kayo ng ilang pagbabago sa sistema o kaya struktura ng pamamahala sa ating bansa po through, tama ho ba, a people's initiative?
Correct po.
Exactly ano ho ang gusto nyong baguhin?
Number one po, ang number one ko pong advokasya ay maamyendahan ang People's Initiative and Referendum Act sapagkat ito po ang people empowerment measure that will allow ordinary citizens and groups of citizens to launch a people's initiative through a functional law. No? Sapagkat ngayon po, kung maglo-launch ka ng people's initiative, you will need billions. No? Sapagkat napakahirap po na i-satisfy yung mga requirements. For example, yung 10% minimum signature requirements, yung 3% minimum in every legislative district. Mahirap pong i-satisfy yun.
So what you say, sir, ibababa natin yun?
Ibababa po yun at
what?
kailangan yung pong implementing rules and guidelines will have to be easier, no? At meron po akong detalyadong programa, plano para dyan,
So
para
from 10
magkaroon tayo ng functional People's Initiative
So from
law.
10 and 3% to what?
From the 10%, siguro po, mga 5% or lower, kailangan po i-eliminate yung 3% minimum, no? Na makukuha mong botante in every district. Hindi po dapat kasama yon sa ano. At ang pinaka-importante po, yung implementing rules and guidelines, kailangan po, pag nag-launch ka ng People's Initiative, yung pong COMELEC mismo, yun ang istasyon para mag-kolekta ng signatures.
Okay.
No?
Okay.
At yung pong mga barangay, kailangan magkaroon ng at least parang debate. No? Isang pro, a con, in every barangay. Bibigyan nila ng orasyon at schedule, parang mini CNN in every barangay. In that way, we will be able to articulate, our beliefs and our aspirations all the way down to the barangay level. And that is people empowerment.
In form of educating them,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yes.
And just very briefly, just one more additional question on political reform. Would you like to see a system where we have, where we do not have 10 candidates running for president and 9 for VP? Sobrang dami, hindi po ba?
Yeah, parliamentary system po. Or kung
parliamentary,
yeah,
okay.
of the French model. So I think naging tradisyon na natin na magkaroon ng presidente. So I think we should have a president, pero yung structure of government still will be modified to a unicameral form.
Ito naman tayo, Sir Manny, sa ugnayang palabas, foreign policy. Doon sa nakaraang vice presidential debate, you mentioned about independent foreign policy. At meron din kayo nabanggit sa isang panayam na ayon yung malagay tayo sa state of hazard. Opo, what is that independent foreign policy that you have in mind na pwedeng gawin ng Pilipinas?
Sir Ricky, we are living in very interesting times. No? Nagkakaroon ng competition ng emerging superpower and the dominant superpower. So in such instances, magkakaroon po ng inevitable conflict yan. Hopefully, it will not become kinetic sapagkat alam niyo po, ang mga competition ng superpowers ngayon, they are all nuclear armed. And we may be facing a catastrophic scenario when the conflict becomes kinetic. So how will an independent foreign policy protect us or prevent us from, getting embroiled in a superpower conflict that will make use of nuclear weapons. Independent foreign policy po. Kasi malayo po tayo sa mga areas supposedly of conflict Pero we happen to be in the forefront of the defense of the United States.
Strategically.
Sa economic side, Sir Manny, independent foreign policy in terms of our economics at ekonomiya, binabanggit po kanina MSMEs, paano yan? Paano natin gagawin yan?
We have to approach it multilaterally. Kailangan po hindi tayo nakasubscribe lang sa isang dominant economy, either US or China. Ito naman po ngayon ay nangyayari na, no? Because of the globalization. But an independent foreign policy, its impact on our economy will be tremendous if we are able to exploit the opportunities available from all countries, from all 229 sovereign states, no? Hindi lang po sa China, hindi lang po sa Amerika, hindi lang po sa Japan. And that will also, it will spur competition. So we will get better deals.
Well, President Duterte was talking about that. No? Isn't that what he was saying? Na wag lang tayo dito sa Amerika, kausapin din natin China. Is that what you mean? Or is that different?
Tama po, in a way, pero wag po masyadong parang lopsided sa China because there are opportunities everywhere. India can offer, certain opportunities that are not available from the perspective of the Chinese.
So, a friend to all.
A friend to all and foe to none. At in that way po, strategically, napaka-importante po, because given the geopolitical dynamics of the Asia-Pacific region, pag tayo po ay independent, hindi tayo nasa forefront ng depensa ng United States, hindi po tayo magiging target ng possible preemptive strike ng China, no? Or defense of the of the Chinese security interests.
Okay, let's also highlight the fact that Vice Presidential candidate Lopez is the only Vice President who does not have a presidential candidate. Ano po? Kayo lang po 'yon. Kaya nga 10 candidates for president, 9 for Vice President. Kayo ho ba meron na kayong napupusuan na pangulo?
To be honest po, believe
yung
ako
to
sa
be
kanilang
honest.
lahat, no? Pero meron po akong yung
Na-eliminate
5-tier,
na. Five.
tsaka higher tier and lower tier.
Okay.
Yung
Lower tier
pong-
meaning yun yung hindi nyo iboboto.
Yung pong lower tier, hindi ko yun, wala na po sa aking
Listahan.
Radar?
listahan
Like
sa
who?
radar.
Okay,
no?
like who? Who have you eliminated from
Isipin ko pa po muna kung
Naisip
maaari.
mo na yun?
Pero yung pong
Sige na.
limang, yung
ganda
pong
ng sagot
limang
niyo
nasa
kanina.
taas, kasi po, isa lang naman ang aking basehan Tatlo, no? He or she has to be the best, most qualified,
Yeah.
and most committed presidential candidate who will pursue the interest and welfare
Yes. So
of
who
the
is
Filipino
that?
people. Isipin ko pa po. I will
Sir, meron na
decide on it
meron na
siguro.
kayong short list. Oh, no, let's talk about the short list na lang. Who is on your short list? Come on, sir.
Marami ho nasa ilalim
Nasa ilalim.
nasa ilalim.
Okay.
Oo.
So we're not talking about yung nangungulo
Meron
sa
din po,
survey.
nasa taas ng survey. Pero karamihan po nasa ilalim.
Come on, sir, share it.
Unfortunately.
Tayo lang to. No, it's interesting It was interesting to hear
And
kanina.
if I were to be honest po, talagang hindi ko pa talaga na kasi one man, woman ba yun? Kaya gusto ko po talagang when I decide, talagang fully committed. Because I intend to support, I'm fully committed. That's my main commitment, to fully support the next president of our republic.
All right. We've come to the end of the show. So, kukunin po natin ang inyong closing statement. Mr. Lopez, meron po kayong 2 minuto para doon. But the question here will be, kung ikaw ay mananalo pong vice-presidente, ano po yung mga hakbang na agad mong isusulong para bumuti ang buhay ng mga Pilipino? Although kanina, the whole show, we were talking about all of that. You can summarize it very briefly.
First, I'd like to thank Ms. Pinky, Ms. Pia, and Ricky for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, my vision, mission, and program of government. before the audience of the CNN Philippines. Isa pong
And other
malaking
KBP net-
and the
networks, sir.
KBP, the Kapisanan ng Broadcasters ng Pilipinas. Isa pong malaking karangalan na pribilehyo na mabigyan kami ng pagkakataon upang ma-share namin ang aming mga panukala. At ang unang-una po na bibigyan kong tugon, should a miracle happen, that I be elected as the next Vice President of our beloved Republic, ang unang-una po ay ang amyendahan, ang People's Initiative and Referendum Act. Sapagkat yan po ay magbibigay ng kapangyarihan sa mamamayang Pilipino upang mag-legislate, upang mapalitan ang dating mga dating sistema na nagpapahirap sa sambayan ng Pilipino. And lastly po, kung ako po ay mabigyan ng pagkakataon, I would like to pursue the socio-economic recovery program of our country, and I could do that better if given the chance to work as perhaps as the Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry.
Okay.
Maraming salamat po sa ibinigay ninyong panahon sa panayam na ito, Vice Presidential Candidate and Economist Manny Lopez.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Maraming
much.
salamat po sa
At
inyo.
yan ang kabuuan ng COMELEC KBP Pilipinas Forum 2022 sa ngalan ni Pinky Webb at Ricky Rosales. Ako si Pia Hontiveros. Bumoto po tayong lahat sa darating na halalan Mayo 9 dahil nakasalalay dito ang ating kinabukasan.